Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Practical Founders Podcast, where every week we hear an amazing story from a serious founder who built a valuable software company and did it without big funding. I'm your host, Greg Head, and this week my guest is Samir Narkar, the CEO and founder of Konnect Insights. That's Connect with a K. He's based in Mumbai, and most of his software company is based in India. This is a bootstrap software company that's almost to 10 million in revenues and growing faster after a bunch of years that plays in the very competitive space that started as social listening for big brand companies to engage with customers on all the social media platforms. Now it's a very integrated, unified customer experience platform selling to large brands all over the world and competing with billion-dollar companies. So this is the story of an enterprising, persistent Indian founder, an engineer who figured out how to sell and then grow with partners and agencies and build a very, very valuable company now leveraging AI to do amazing things. It's a great story with Samir. Welcome to the Practical Founders Podcast, Samir.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me here.
Nice to see you. I guess it's getting towards nighttime there. You're in Mumbai in India.
Yeah, I'm in Mumbai. It's not too late. We are used to sleep by 12 o'clock or 1.
Yeah. And you're a global company now. Do you have those kind of hours that you have mornings for Europe and evenings for North America and Latin America and the day for India? I know you have a global company that's growing.
Yeah, luckily not for me. There are others who wake up early or sleep late. These days, I sleep on time, but of course, I had my own days when it was work for at least 14, 15 hours a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a bigger company now, and it's been going for a while. So I'm excited to hear your story. It's an India bootstrapped success story in SaaS, modern SaaS. We've talked to founders from all over the country who've generally made the transition from services to software and got up and running with the product and did all the things to get through the hard challenges to grow a company. So let's talk about Connect Insights. What is Connect Insights today?
Yeah.
What kind of product is it and who do you serve?
So we call Connect Insights as an AI-powered omni-channel CX. It's a product that helps brands to listen to their customers, engage with them, learn from them, and overall make it happier. So to keep it simple, the way we look at it is it's one customer who tries to reach to one brand,
Yeah.
and just because there are so many channels, things become complicated. I, as a customer, can reach out to you on calls, phones, emails, or social media channels like Twitter, Facebook.
Twitter, a
Yeah,
review site,
review
something
sites,
else. Yeah.
blogs, forums. But at the end of the day, I am one customer who is talking to one brand. If there
Yeah.
was a world where brand and customer agree that please talk to me only on this channel, and brands promise that I'll respond to you in 5 minutes, world would have been simpler. But that's not the case. But that's the kind of ideal world we want to create or present to the brands, where we give them an experience of one customer. And that's the whole omni-channel customer experience that we offer.
Okay, so you're using terms like omni-channel, unified, customer CX, customer experience,
Right.
and engagement, which means you're selling to enterprise companies that speak these languages, right? That
Right.
that have global teams and customer support departments, and that are dealing with millions of customers in all of these channels. It's very complicated. Is that who you're serving these days? Is
Yeah.
larger business to consumer brands?
That's how we actually started. So
Yeah.
for a change, we are a bootstrap company that directly works with enterprise customers. Even our first
Yeah.
few customers were from, say, insurance or telecom, banking,
Yeah.
automobiles. And that's how we continued. But
Yeah.
over a period of time, we wanted to serve customers across the spectrum. So yes, a lot of our customers are enterprise customers, big brands from telecom, banking, financial services, aviation, fintech, edtech, QSR. You can think of large enterprises, B2C, and they would be an ideal customer for us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also worked out on solutions where we are not missing out on mid-market, uh, where maybe social is not the main use case, but email customer support or chat customer support is always the use case with a smaller social media use case. So today we serve mid-market as well as large enterprises, but very easily about 80% of our customers are large enterprises.
Okay. Yeah, and they have this big, they use the language of customer experience and do you compete with, maybe Hootsuite in the mid-market? These are social tools or Sprinkler for enterprises, a billion-dollar public company here that, helps companies engage with their customers across all the channels. They probably use similar language. Sprinkler, an enterprise competitor?
Yeah, yes. So we compete with Sprinkler. In fact, there are quite a few customers who migrated from Sprinkler to Connect Insights.
Ah,
That's on the enterprise side of things. Hootsuite or Sprout Social are more into publishing, a little bit
I
of
see, right.
care. But when there are ticketing workflows or any kind of advanced AI features and very detailed reports, then of course Sprinkler is an apple to apple comparison there.
Okay. So we're not talking about, social media
Competition.
as a marketing function. We're talking about social channels and all the channels as customer support, customer engagement, people complaining about their airlines on Twitter and
Yeah.
getting a quick response from somebody at that airline because it comes through your system. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, today, if we want quick response, we'll obviously go on Twitter, or maybe even if there is a post on Facebook, we might comment on it.
I
Might
see.
go on Instagram DMs and talk. So today's customers are smart. They might write a detailed review on an email, but they'll then go and complain on X or Twitter.
Right.
This
Yeah.
because it's not just a problem between you and me. It's
Yeah.
it's a problem between you and me, and I want the world to know about it.
Yes, right. We're letting the world know to get leverage to our complaint,
Yeah.
all of that here. So you've been going for a while since 2014. Tell us about how big your company is now, revenues and customers and employees. You've grown a sizable company.
Yeah, I mean, although we started in 2014, it took at least 3, 4 years for us to even get our, first set of customers. I wouldn't say first customer, but first few set of customers
Okay.
who can pay us well. We were a combination of a services and product company because as a bootstrapped company, you have to generate some revenue, and that revenue came from software services.
Yeah.
So first 3, 4 years was a combination of software services plus product company, and then that is how we started. Now we are about, I would say, about 140 plus employees
Okay.
in Mumbai, few of them in Chennai and Delhi, and we
Hmm.
have our sales team across geographies, at least in 5 countries.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
have someone in Singapore leading Southeast Asia. We have folks in Saudi, I mean, after India, Saudi is another country where we do good business. But for
Yeah.
rest of Middle East, we have someone in UAE, we have someone in Brazil, we have folks in Argentina, Egypt. So that's
Wow.
how we've been growing. Whereas UK and US is something that as of now we manage from India, but of course there are plans to have people in that part of the world as well.
Okay. Wow. So you got 140 employees. Can you describe how much revenue
Yeah,
in rupees or dollars? Yeah.
revenue wise, it's the financial year that we completed last year. It was about 7 million
Okay.
USD,
Yeah.
and this year looks good for, let's say, anywhere between 14 to 15. If we can reach there,
Okay.
that'll be fantastic.
Right. Yeah, so you've got a bootstrap company and you're playing in a pretty competitive horizontal enterprise software space. And literally, you've got some competitors that have $1 billion in revenue and whatever, hundreds of millions in funding and thousands of employees. But you've bootstrapped this company and done it in a special way with a slow start. A lot of founders would not describe would create their founding moment when they got their first customer and not talk about all the wandering around that every founder does. But you had that normal, figuring it out stage here, and you don't have any outside funding. Is that right, Samir?
Yeah, so far that's the case. Of course, many a times we o- we got the offers, but the numbers didn't work out. It's not that we would continue to be bootstrapped all the while. When the right opportunity comes, all the numbers match. We obviously would then raise some funding and then see how it goes from there.
Yeah, but like a lot of software founders and companies in India, big funding isn't the default case like it is when the whatever social listening software, social engagement software started here in the States, very competitive, lots of funding, and if you didn't have VC funding, you weren't playing the game.
Yeah.
But, you stayed off the funding drugs. I'm sure you could have raised funding, but you say there's numbers. We'll talk about why you're an independent company these days and what that means to you. You've done it in your own way. Um, so with how much revenue roughly now in the business? Uh, Heading 7, headed to 14? Are you
Yeah.
literally doubling this year?
Yeah, we would be doubling this year. In fact, we might do more than that if few things really work well for us. And that's because we have done investments in most parts of the world. We have very good partnerships going. We work very closely with a few ISVs
Okay.
who have their own interest in selling our software.
Mhm.
So that is the reason of maybe for last 2 years, what we worked on in growing in international markets is something now we are seeing the benefits out of it.
Okay, so you're growing in international markets, and we'll talk about your ISV, independent software vendors, partnering with the Salesforces or the phone system companies,
Yeah.
for these call centers, and as opposed to whatever advertising and selling direct there. We'll talk about your global expansion strategy, which is also uh, uncommon to start in India and then go to the global community and then head towards North America. A lot of Indian founders say you should build in rupees and sell in dollars, right? So your first customer should be in the States, but you do you have, let's say, thousands of customers now, something like that?
No, we would be close to about, say, 350 to 400 enterprise
Okay,
customers,
yeah.
and
Oh,
anywhere between, say, 300 more customers take
yes.
us should take us to some good numbers, maybe 2 years down the line.
Well, congratulations. You've built a successful company. It's picking up steam, and I'd love to hear about your journey there. It's more common every month that we see more successful software companies in India. Is Mumbai and tech center as much as Bangalore and now Chennai and other places?
No, no, not really. Bangalore, of course, Bangalore is the number one city
Yeah,
for SaaS and techies. Of course, Chennai, Freshworks
yeah,
is from Chennai, so Zoe is
yeah.
from. So Chennai and Bangalore definitely are right there at the top. Mumbai is a financial hub, uh, not known so much for techies, but for a change, we are from Mumbai, not from Bangalore or Chennai. But by default, whenever I speak that I'm a SaaS founder from India, they assume I might be from Bangalore or Chennai.
Yeah. So is there a lot going on in Mumbai? We just don't see it. That happens, or is it? It's rather rare to have an up and running SaaS company there. I know it's
Uh,
a big place. I'm sure there's a lot of founders.
they could be like, but to hire folks in Mumbai is
Ah.
relatively difficult than Bangalore or Chennai or even Pune for that matter. Mumbai,
Mm.
it's very difficult. So most of our folks, there's a good mix of about 30% experienced guys and 70% who started their first job in Connect Insights and continued over the years.
Wow.
So in early days, of course, they were all interns and freshers, and I, along with other founders, would do a lot of coding. That's how it started. It stayed like that over the years, where a lot of new joinees are the ones who really work on this. And today,
Wow.
in fact, when we hired for AI, it's not the experienced folks who are doing it. The AI developers, apart from one or two who are architects, most AI developers are 1 or 2 years experienced who are working with us.
Well, and you have an opportunity to build a talent base in Mumbai. I mean, it's a big place, and you just have 150 employees, but you're growing your own, which is how we had to do in the old days before there was hordes of VPs of sales to select from in every region. But great, that's really exciting. Yeah. The Are you an engineer yourself? You talked about coding, and
Yeah.
did you did you come out of a coding background?
So I'm an electronics and telecom engineer. Started with embedded technologies, VLSI, VHDL. That's how I
Okay.
did my coding in early days. Built robots as part of my projects, not just for me, but for others also. So in my final year of engineering, me and my friend actually built about 8 different projects for others, made some money.
Yeah.
That was first maybe stint at an entrepreneurship, and then I got jobs which were more into coding. I come from finance background. That's where I worked earlier in equities derivatives market. That was my first job. Then worked in for insurance market. Then worked for mutual funds, and then started a company which was altogether different. That was because of course social media was big, apps were kind of coming up in those days. So I thought let's try out something. For first 2 years we were just exploring with some product or the other, and that's how Connect Insight started. So yes, my background is a techie who was not a programmer or a coder earlier. It was more from electronics background, but then I
Ah,
got to work on all technologies, mostly C,
right.
C++, C sharp. That's where I did my coding.
So you were a software, an engineer, and a software engineer at these big financial services companies, and you just decided to start a scrappy startup with social media, social listening for these companies. That's pretty strange for somebody in the big city with the big job. Did your parents were they disappointed that you went the entrepreneurial route and stopped being a professional engineer?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's the story of most founders.
I get it.
You have a tough time to convince your friends, your families, but then something sticks. You know that this is going to work out. You have hardships for a few years. So that's a typical journey that every founder would go through.
Yeah, yeah.
That happened. Yeah.
So why did you choose this? You kind of saw the social media wave that was happening globally, right? But the 2013, 14, 15 zone, and there was everybody was in social media software back then, and that was pretty big. What was it about that that appealed to you? Did it just look like a big enough opportunity, and you wanted to start something? You were tired of the big companies?
No, I mean, the story goes like this. I was working on some app to get reviews from blogs and forums. So I kind of built one small scraping code.
Yeah.
In fact, before that, I was just working on something where I was trying to get the live scores of cricket match,
Yes. Uh-huh.
and get it on the website. So that led to the reviews thing. That led to analytics, and I was working in some company earlier. So we built something around social media analytics. I found out some APIs, and it was working well. Then thought of this, why not build something around this? So
Okay.
I went to few brands who were especially restaurants
Hmm.
who would pay for analytics. So I met some agencies and asked them, will something like this work? So one of the insight that I got was that one of the agency was charging then 10,000 rupees, which is approximately, let's say, $200 back then per
Yep.
month, for just Google Analytics. So I
Hmm.
asked them that, if can you pay me $100 a month if I give you Google Analytics and all the analytics of social media? They said yes. I was still working, and then I started coding. 3 months down the line, I showed them the product. They find that, like, we may buy this, but that was the time I decided that this might work, and let's explore some more meetings with some agencies to figure out what the market is. And I was the only one who was believing in this. There were a couple of colleagues to whom I told
Yeah.
we can work this out. They believed in me, and that's how we started. So
Great.
that's how the journey really started.
Well, that's a little against the grain, as we say, because you're an engineer, and Mumbai wasn't a startup center in Silicon Valley, in Bangalore. If you're not doing a startup, you're not cool, right? But in Mumbai, that must have been a little strange, and you just had the urge to go start to build something. How long was it while you were doing projects to pay the bills before you found the first version of what Connect Insights was going to be, which I think was around the social
So
media listening? Yeah.
it was around social media listening. In fact, it took us about good 4 years uh,
Okay.
to it took us 4 years for us to continue the services as well as the product
Yeah.
business. Around that time, we actually got to see some other products as well. In fact, Radiant 6 or Social
Oh,
Studio or
Radiant
something
Six,
like
right? Yeah.
that. Yeah. So one of the agencies was a reseller of that product here. And when we showed our product, they said, you're nowhere close to what the market needs. See what it is, and they showed everything that Radian 6 was. It was massive, definitely. What we were
Uh-huh.
trying to sell was only a social media analytics bit, but that
Uh-huh.
meeting gave us the realization that we should go back, build everything probably what Radian 6 has. But of course, a lot of challenges. You don't have money to have enough servers. You don't have
Yeah.
money for API data, everything. So those challenges were there. But then the whole idea was, why not make enough money to at least pay the bills, and then then
Yeah.
then see where the product goes. So yes, we do have vision today of making it a $1 billion company, or hitting some numbers. But back then it was, let's get enough number of customers so we can pay our bills. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how it started.
Yeah. And did you have a passion around social media listening, or did you just follow problems that agencies and customers had that they were telling you?
No, no, over the years, of course, while maybe when we started, the passion was on building something. Maybe the passion was coding. The passion
Surviving?
was the passion was technology. The passion was not industry. But over the period of time, when we were working on this, customer experience became the passion.
Yeah.
It's one of our core values about our companies is customer success, and how the whole entire customer experience works towards the success of your customers is something that we truly care about today. We are passionate about it now, when we are working on it for last 10 years. Back then, it was more technology was the passion.
Yeah. So, what did it feel like to get your first 10 customers? Was the problem you didn't have enough software, or you had too much software and not enough sales ability, or, you know, had the wrong thing for the wrong people? What was it that got you to your first 10 customers?
Yeah. In fact, the first few customers that we got, in fact, first 5 customers we got through an agency, which
Mm,
was using some local product for their social listening stuff. They had problems with that software. They had actually moved from Radian 6 to another software, and then they were facing support problems as well as some tech problems. When we met them for the first time, we were actually having few customers who were some agencies here and there. But then they kind of had some belief in us that we'll actually create that software which will solve their problems. And this was Reliance ADAG Group, which is Reliance Group,
yep,
which is right now not existing. It's a different group than the Reliance Geo Group that
I
we
see.
know of. And we took some time. We told them that, see, we are not completely ready for what you want,
Mm,
but give us 3 months time. That's the time when we actually bought some new servers, started to save data, and those three months were something that we took from them and delivered in those 3 months time, where we got our first 5 customers from one agency itself. And from
okay.
there on, it was every other agency started to know us. In Mumbai, there are a lot of digital marketing agencies, so that's one
Ah,
good thing. Had we been
yeah.
in Bangalore or Chennai, most of the agencies would have been either Mumbai or Delhi. So that helped us. So most of the agencies in a year's time or so started to know us, and we told them that, do one thing. You take an agency account, and then pitch to your customers. If you win the account, then pay us. So that's how we actually pushed our product to all the agents.
Well, it sounds a little bit like our New York. It's a financial center with a lot of big brand ad agencies there, and a little tech that's grown up and gotten bigger. So you started selling to agencies. Did the agencies sell their customers,
Yeah.
or were you involved in selling to the end customer themselves, or was it a
Right.
very channel oriented thing?
So one thing that happened in India, very different from other parts of the world, was the social care in most parts of the world where we work today, whether it is Southeast Asia or Middle East. Over there, social care was part of contact center. Whereas in India, social care was not part of customer support, but it was part of marketing
I
agencies.
see.
So that's where we got into this, where we started selling it to the agencies, and agencies would get services business because of our product. So we positioned it that ways,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
take our product, sell to the customers, and then you get the services business from there.
yeah.
Uh, and we thought this is the way it would work in other parts of the world also. So when we went to say WPPs or iPages or Dentsu groups in other parts of the world, they said we realized that this is very unique to India. And if we have to succeed in other parts of the world, we have to be then part of the contact center.
Yeah.
And that's where we actually decided to build our own app marketplace where we build these
Wow.
no code integrations with contact centers. And then our way of our GTM strategy was to really closely work with contact centers and CTIs and CRMs so that we succeed in other parts of the world.
So you literally repositioned outside of India, different market. They needed something different. You sell not to the marketing department, you sell to the contact center
Contact
department
center.
and then all of the ecosystem, right? Of service providers, CRMs and software and phone systems and all of that kind of thing. So that's like almost a different business. And you had to add all these new features. What was that? It took you 4 years to kind of get going in India. Then you got going. How long did it take before you made this additional change to the contact center outside of India?
No, I mean, our product has two aspects to it. One is the marketing insights, the other one is the
Okay.
customer care. And on the customer care, we were simultaneously actually growing, not just because we wanted to build
I see.
integrations around contact centers, but we wanted to build very strong ticketing and workflows and some kind of automations much before AI was there.
Mhm.
Maybe AI is about 2 3 years old, but before that, we had very strong automations built into our platform.
Right.
Uh, that was not with the idea of contact center integrations. That was to make our standalone product very strong. But we obviously know how Salesforce excelled with App Exchange, and that's an inspiration for all SaaS companies. So at some point in time, we were definitely going to invest on our app marketplace and increase the number of apps that can be integrated. It started with Freshworks as one of the first integrations, but from there on, we actually moved to every possible CRM, every possible chatbots, every possible contact center, and every possible marketing automations tools. That's where we actually built very strong integrations. So my idea of doing business is you should give a reason for someone else to sell your product. You know,
Yes.
if you have a team of say 100 sales folks in a CRM company or in a contact center company, you should give an every reason for them to sell our product because they benefit. Uh, and then what happens is you also attract their partners.
Yes.
So with a very lean sales team, we work
Mhm.
with ISVs and their partners.
Right. And their partners. So what percentage of your customers have come through partners and what percentage have, did you meet at trade shows or, do direct sales? It sounds like a very agency and, partner driven approach around the world.
So in India, we pivoted from that agency business to direct sales because
Okay.
we had our
I
own
see.
sales team. And agency was more like one agency, multiple customers. That model was not scalable for us. And at the same time, we promised to the agencies that you don't sell from your channel, sell it directly. What we promise you is the business, the services business. So it
Yes.
was again, when we started, it was a win-win. When we pivoted, also it was a win-win for agencies. But today we mostly do direct sales in India. In Southeast Asia, also we do direct sales. In Middle East, where we are very strong, we strictly work only with partners.
Yeah.
In Saudi and rest of the Middle East, we work with partners. A few
Right.
customers we have in UK and Europe. Again, then there we work with partners. In Latin, we work with partners. US, we are not all that big early days for us and some
Yeah.
customers. But again, over there, we do a combination of direct. But again, we know that the fact that partner network will grow more than direct sales.
Right. Well, it's kind of a traditional approach. US software companies sell direct in the US and then they go to Europe and the rest of the world. And generally, in mid market companies, start with, partners over there that have relationships and people, sales teams, support teams, right? And that's was a traditional approach. You're doing it from the India side right now. Is your business mostly in India this year? Or I know it's growing outside of India, but,
Yeah.
you know
No, I mean, today, if you look at new business, then India would month on month contribute to about 30%.
Yeah.
whereas 70% comes from all other parts of the world. I'm talking about the new business. But
Right.
because we have most customers from India to start with, the recurring revenue is more from India compared to the international one.
This podcast is sponsored by my friends at Cypress Growth Capital. At some point in your growth, you'll know you could grow faster with some outside funding, but selling a part of your company to VCs would change your whole game. And we know that's the most expensive growth capital on the planet. That's why so many practical SaaS founders I know have partnered with Cypress Growth Capital when they hit that predictable growth inflection point. For 15 years, Cypress has provided non-dilutive growth funding to Bootstrap SaaS founders, including 6 successful founders I've interviewed here on this podcast. Cypress provides enough patient capital for you to invest in your growth without giving up any of your precious equity. They leverage their entrepreneurial and operational experience to provide savvy strategic guidance to help you grow efficiently and build your valuable software company faster. Go to cypressgrowthcapital.com/practical to learn more and set up a time with Cliff Centel to see if there's a fit. Now back to our program. I get it. Well, you're growing this business and doing things that are very challenging for companies anywhere. And I talked to many Indian founders to go from service to software. Most don't make it. You found a way to get there and didn't give up, to sell to agencies and then pivot to selling direct, selling to enterprise. Indian software companies, small ones, selling to enterprise companies in India is very challenging, right? The big companies don't want to buy from the little guys in India a lot. So you've managed to climb that ladder, and now you're succeeding in your phased growth of, of your international global growth. And you didn't use the excuse that I didn't have funding to get there to build this probably very large product right now, integrating with everything. That's a lot going on for, just over 100 people and, headed towards 10 or 15 million revenue.
Yeah, I mean, see, I whenever I do my town hall or ask me anything sessions, this is one thing that I say over and over again. We may be a bootstrapped company, but we are heavily funded by our customers.
Yes.
So, so
Yeah.
money is a challenge, but it's not a bigger challenge compared to lack of ideas. If you are innovative enough, if you know how to crack the market, if you have a true belief that you can still do it, I think then money isn't a challenge. I've
Right.
seen over the years myself,
Right.
and the fact that if 5 enterprise customers are using your platform, then there is every reason that 50 will use it. If 50
Yes.
enterprise brands are using your platform, then there's every reason why 500 customers will use it. So I look at that way. So today,
Yeah.
if we are there at a big number of about 350 odd enterprise customers, so there is a belief that we will still reach about 5,000 customers globally, and the market is there. If we look, so we do a
Yes.
very,
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, every month I look at what is our potential market. Uh, in India itself, we see about 3,590 brands who can be our customers. I have that number for every region
Yeah.
globally. So one thing could be a belief, and the other thing could be whether market is there or not.
Yeah.
So we truly believe the market is there. We have the belief, we have the right product, we have the right partners to sell it. Our journey is slow,
Yeah.
but
So
it's
that's
built
the
on
difference,
very
right?
strong
Yeah.
foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And your product is quite big. What percentage of your employees are on the product team in engineering? Is that over half? Because it's a substantial product.
I think we the software developers team is around 45
Yeah.
folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too big, not too small.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're very efficient, they're very effective ways in which we work. Of course, we don't work on weekends. It's a product company, so there is no deadline per se, and we have built that culture that even if there is a need to work on weekends, people won't come. That's fine, but I think we manage it nice. In fact, all 4 founding members, I mean, I started it, then 3 folks joined. They're part
I
of the
see.
founding team now. They are all techies.
Uh-huh.
So we kind of naturally manage the tech part of it It's simple. It's not complicated. We know what needs to be done. Most things are there on your whatever platform, software platforms you use for management. But things are simple, written on your whiteboard, written on the glass. What needs to be done. We are truly agile in the way we actually release our software features. And it's always been very fast. We are in a fast growing world. You see that
Yeah.
there's so many platforms from where we bring data, right? From Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Trustpilot, Quora, App Store, Play Store, Google Business Reviews, blogs,
Yeah.
forums,
Yeah.
news,
Yeah.
consumer forum, review sites. So there are so many APIs, so many webhooks to deal with. And this is the reason why a lot of big tech companies don't do what we do, because one challenge is so many data sources,
Right.
uh, that there are changes in the APIs, changes in the webhooks. X and Twitter,
Yeah.
work in their own fashion,
Yeah.
charging us for APIs or whatever changes they make. And on top
Yeah.
of that, there's that big challenge of AI and constant development. So it is actually helpful, the fact that your team is not too big,
Yeah.
and
Right.
there are not many departments. Lean lean size team actually works for a company like us.
So, what would you say is your advantage in this competitive marketplace? You're not the only player there, and you're competing with big public companies, funded companies with hundreds of millions of dollars in funding and thousands of employees,
Right.
big brands. People know about them. They're the whatever the trusted solution that the analysts recommend. What? Why? What are you doing to compete? Are you faster? Are you cheaper? Are you more or less, focused? You're not industry focused or size focused. What is it that has allowed you to succeed? What do you focus on?
See, whether we are faster, we are cheaper, we surely are simpler. Our
Ah,
user experience is a lot simpler. We, of course, offer everything that a robust platform should offer. But when brands migrate from these enterprise, products, maybe like Sprinkler or someone, they find our product to be a lot simpler, does
eh,
everything that the other product offers. And we don't miss out on any feature. I mean, today in this competitive market where enterprise customers, when they choose a platform, they wouldn't go with something which is maybe 20-30% cheaper but compromise on features.
I see.
Our unique value proposition is the fact that we help your agents do a lot more than what they'll do with other platforms. It's
Ah,
3x productivity. It's ending silos, having a unified solution. And our pitch is that, in case of CX, there is a 95 phi equation. 95 phi equation means 95% of your investment is on infrastructure, or investment on resources. But if you invest in right tools, maybe that 95% can come down to maybe 85% or 90%. You save millions because of investing on the right tools. And that's why they opt for it. We have one single interface where everything happens. If your agents were earlier spending 20 minutes to solve a query, they'll spend maybe 7 to 10 minutes on our platform.
yeah,
So that's the pitch today. I don't think cheaper products can sell better than products that are more efficient and more effective.
right. And you're selling hard productivity. You're going to do more with less on your team, right? You're going to save hours, save time, speed things up.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's the pitch. Not only we are doing, but that's a pitch also the contact center and CRM folks are doing on our behalf, where
Ah,
our products are deeply integrated with them.
yeah. So you've got to have a strong and simple and clear enough message that somebody else, your partners, can deliver it, right? In the field with a skeptical customer and get through it. So has that been a challenge? I mean, to go figure out how to tell your story in all these different regions?
Yeah, I mean, the ISVs actually make it easier. When ISVs believe in our product and their sales
Right.
team start selling it, then their partners also believe it. For
Ah,
example, if today we are working with, say, the likes of Genesis or Cisco, or maybe Nice, Avaya, uh, we attract their partners. But if we go and reach out to every single a partner, that's a difficult job. But if an ISV comes and spreads the message, it's way faster.
So you go
So
to the vendor first to go to their partners,
yeah,
right? And then the ones who raise their hand and say, "I like that," they're kind of pre-qualified. They already understand and, wanna sell your solution.
yeah, that's how. Otherwise, reaching out to every partner will take a lot of time, and they may be interested, but they'll not do business with you. If you really
I see.
want partners to do business, then catch hold of ISVs, spend 6 months, 9 months with them, make them believe that there's a perfect gap that we are filling for you.
Mhm.
And everybody's interested in their own sales, and
Yeah. How do you
they're
help
not.
them sell more of their own stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Today,
Right.
today we work with some chatbot providers
Mhm.
because we don't build end-to-end conversational AI. We rely on some other vendors, and we sell their product. So the way contact centers are helping us is the way we are helping the conversational AIs. So that's the whole
Okay.
ecosystem of CX platforms. And our salespeople are not really interested in selling that conversational AI. Same is the case with the contact center folks. They are not interested in selling Connect Insight.
Yeah,
They're interested in selling their own product, and some way our product should help them sell that product.
that's right. So does that look like, showing up in the Salesforce App Exchange marketplace, getting awareness, getting then Salesforce to recommend to their partners your solution or, endorse it in some way? Is that I don't know if that's happened, but is that kind of the scheme that people can think
I
about?
mean, yeah, see, I mean, if you would ask this question to me 2 years back, I would have been very excited with the Salesforce App Exchange ecosystem. But Salesforce is massive and it's
Yeah,
too big.
yeah.
Yeah, it's too
It's
big.
not
And
enough to be in their App Exchange, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not enough to be there in App Exchange. So we are not definitely winning the Salesforce App Exchange game, but we are definitely winning the contact center one. And that's working for us. Salesforce, I don't know how much money I've invested in Salesforce. I've been part of their uh, Dreamforce. I've been part of their road shows. We have invested on their events,
Yeah.
but very little success. Not a complaint per se, but then you actually need a lot of focus if you have to if you have to succeed in a Salesforce ecosystem. And honestly, it gave us very little success compared to the efforts that we have put in. Whereas
Yeah.
in other cases, very little efforts and good results. But that's the nature of the business. I mean, you never know what will really work for you, but you have to put equal efforts in all that thing that you believe that may work.
Right. Well, let's
So
talk about how you grew this. You started building the product and you and your friends, your team members there started building more of the product. You heard from customers, the product started expanding. You were selling to agencies. Did you have sales teams that sold to agencies and now sales teams, salespeople and sales leaders that focus on selling in India? Do you now have a large sales team?
no, actually, when I was selling to the agencies, it was me and one guy who was an intern who was supposed to set up meetings for me. Uh, Obviously, when you bootstrap, you don't have money, so you
Yes.
have to do all the legwork. So I used to go to the agencies and sell it. So early days, in fact, I would say that our first 15 employees, none of them were anything other than the product guys. We are all
Mhm.
techies. Then one of the guy was an intern, MBA, who was not working as a salesperson, but at least fixing up meetings for me. So I may be good at many things. One thing I cannot definitely do is make cold calls, and there was someone to help me for that.
But you did the selling. You engineer guy figured out how to sell enough to agencies, right?
And,
Was that a
and
challenge?
no, and before that, I never did sales.
Yeah.
In fact, when before I started my company, I can hardly recollect if I ever gave a product demo. Forget about sales. So
Right.
so everything came new to me. But I don't think it was. I was looking at sales or I was looking at marketing. It was simple that if you have to survive, if you have to make money, you have to sell. So I think that is one lesson maybe any B school cannot teach.
Are you good at sales now, Samir?
Absolutely. I think
Oh,
I,
great.
ca- I can I can write books on sales. Uh,
Okay.
I have been I'm a better salesperson than a techie now. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Yeah. And how did you learn that? Was it just by doing and, you got to eat? So that's what a former founder used to tell me. We got to sell something, we got to eat, right? So let's go sell. But did you just learn by doing, or did you get some mentorship or some books or something to help you to sell better? It's a common problem.
Yeah, I do read a lot of books, so definitely reading books helped. Mentorship, I would say, I'm in a sense a little bit of introvert, so I didn't actually go out to
Of
a lot
course.
of events
Yeah.
for mentorship. Mentorship, no, I don't think that's the case. But I learned from reading books, watching a lot
Yeah.
of YouTube videos, and it came naturally to me. Maybe early days I was not a good salesperson. I was more of a product guy, so I would be a little more techy in
Yeah.
terms of explaining the product. But today I'm in an ABC mode, always be closing mode. Show less of tech, show more of value. So it's been a learning on a personal front. I would say it's been a learning. I didn't start with any sales experience before.
So would you say your focus on agencies got you growing in India and now partners outside of India, and you kind of grew slowly and predictably here? Was that your main motion as you've been driving this partner driven sales, you know, to get up and running?
Yeah, it was always partner focused. See, one thing we clearly knew that there's no way that we can have a big sales team or do any kind of direct sales. That was difficult for us to as a bootstrapped company. So earlier it was agencies, later on it was partners. So I always figure out a way that how you can sell where there are others who are having some interest to sell your product. I think that's a
Right.
question
Yeah.
that we continuously ask ourselves and then make it happen. I think
Yeah.
in B2B SaaS, if you kind of use maybe common sense, it's relatively simpler than selling in a B2C market where without marketing or without advertisement you cannot succeed.
Yes.
But in B2B SaaS, if you
That's right.
have right kind of investments in partners and right kind of investments in few events here and there, making connections, it's still a small world. It's
Yeah.
still, I mean, if you look at one
Relationships. Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
look at one country and if you want to succeed in one country, it's still a very small world. Within 3 4 years, uh, people will know you.
Yeah.
The industry will know you just because of word of mouth, and maybe some partner network. So of course you have to have very strong sales channels. I'm not denying that, but then lack of funding won't stop you from succeeding if you have the right product in B2B
Yeah.
SaaS. It may take more time. You may fail because the market is changing. Know it.
Yeah.
If you're starting your own business, you're always standing on the cliff. So you never know when things can go wrong. So market conditions are extremely important to be relevant in a competitive market where things are changing is definitely challenging.
Yeah.
But then you have to preempt things, think of what may go wrong in a couple of years' time, understand where the industry is going, stay ahead of the times, and keep building. So that's a constant process, and I think I enjoy that. More than the challenge part, it's the fun that we drive from the changing dynamics of the world.
Right. So you went from you selling this and on a small team building this and right, eventually a little bit larger team, but now you've got about 140 employees. I presume you have a senior leadership team like a CTO and a head of sales
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely.
finance and HR people, right? All the normal leaders. Do you have a leadership team these days?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, they're a sales leader. There's a big HR team now. At
Yeah.
least 5 folks are there in HR, pretty senior. We
Yeah.
have guys in marketing. There is a partnership team within customer success. There's customer success, onboarding, growth teams.
So there's
Uh,
departments inside departments now, right?
their departments.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a new level for a lot of entrepreneurs, and you're still going. So, show me a successful bootstrap SaaS founder with 5 or 10 million and ARR, and I'll show you they're getting offers that are very exciting to go buy their companies, and they're turning them down. I presume you've had some offers for acquisition type offers thrown at you at some point, and you're still independent.
Yeah, of course, a couple of years back, we actually got a very big offer, and we turned that down. But that was never the case. In fact, the idea of selling the company never crossed my mind till that time. And good that we rejected that offer. Maybe we want to continue. We want to continue growing the company. We may fail, we may succeed, but the journey is definitely very satisfying, and we know we will grow. We know
Okay.
for the fact that we are in the right industry. We are again ahead of times in terms of what we are delivering with AI, although it is moving very fast. Uh, on product offering side, we are no short of what the biggest brands in this industry are offering.
Uh-huh.
Some of the biggest ISVs work very closely with us. With what we have, with the product that we have, let's say if you are doing something around 40, $50 million, then no one would ask this question whether you want to sell it or not. It's just that maybe a couple of years down the line, when we get to that number, we will again be part of some of the big companies. But yeah, to answer your question, the fact that uh, sell the company, make money, there are two things to it. What will I do with so much money? And the other thing
Yes.
is the thrill and the satisfaction that you get after running the show and wanting to make it big. One of the things that someone told me when I started my journey, I was part of one event. Someone said, "It's not the consumption of things that gives you happiness; it's the creation of things."
Ah,
I
good
think
one.
I took it too seriously. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you were a typical, software founder with a big vision and growing here. Most founders like to solve the problem and get customers and build products and small teams, but you're changing into a bigger company. You got 4 people in HR, which for a lot of SaaS founders, that's a level at which don't want to have. They don't have any fun anymore. But you sound like you're still having fun as the CEO of a bigger company, right? This bigger global company with growing revenues here. Are you having fun as a CEO and not the, you know, initial scrappy founder? Did you make that transition to, let's say, the, CEO of a leadership team and this growing company?
yeah. I mean, and we said four HRs. I think the team is short. We at least need to add two more people.
Yeah,
But
I
I
see.
surely enjoy the process. I don't say it because it came from like starting as one person team and then growing slowly. When I look at 140 people together in a big office, it definitely gives that level of satisfaction. But I'm still the same guy who I was maybe 10 years back in terms of the
Yeah.
way I spend my day. So things are pretty simple in that sense. I don't let the CEO thing go to my head. For many years, I never had my own cabin or office. I used to
Yeah.
sit in normal desk. Now I have it because uh, there are some meetings that I keep constantly doing. But then, yeah, I mean, I don't think the fact that you're big or CEO really gets to you if you have kind of been there right from day one building the company. And one thing you should always remember that there's only one boss in the whole company,
Yes.
and that's your customer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as long as you're keeping things simple, it's fine.
Well, a lot of CEOs love to work with customers and products and sell and do that crazy thing. We created a feature over the weekend and closed the deal. And it's different when you have 140 employees and everybody reports to somebody else, right? And you lead through leaders, right? That's
Yeah.
just a different sport, and I hear you're probably, you like sports. It's a different sport, to be the leader of a 140-person company than a 14-person company.
Of course, will be bigger than this. I need to be prepared to lead a
Yeah.
team of maybe 300 more people.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for it.
So let's talk about your vision here. You're up and running. You've survived COVID. You're growing faster now. AI is coming into the business.
Yeah.
So do you view that as a threat? No, our competitors are going to win this AI race, and we need to sell now. Or do you view this as an opportunity to do it better than your big guys? The little guys can win now.
Yeah, I think AI, if you have to look at the SaaS companies today, I believe AI, we are the beneficiaries of what the industry is offering us. We
Yes.
definitely building a lot of features around AI. In fact, our product roadmap now completely relies on what we are building on AI, and every single module of our product has AI capabilities.
Yeah.
And in fact, we went ahead and started building AI with security first in mind, because
Okay.
we work with large banks, large telecom companies. Data residency is important. The whole security aspect of AI is important. You cannot just make calls to open AIs. So we did ensure that everything is kind of in-house on built on our own stack. Uh, of course,
Yeah.
we used some OpenAI rather, Llama stacks, and on top of that, we built our AI features. So what will happen in the future is people are excited about the features with AI,
Hmm.
and tomorrow, year down the line, they're going to ask about the security aspects of it.
Yes. Right.
So you need to be prepared with that. So I think
Yeah.
from day one, we were very clear that if we're going to offer AI features, we are going to make it the most secured AI.
So AI has found its way into your product for the users to keep driving productivity. Can you give us an example of what AI is doing now? Maybe it's seeing that comment on Twitter and processing it and replying, the agentic type of,
Yeah, yeah,
replacement, or is it automating or, consolidating data and analysis? What's it doing that is improving the productivity of your customers?
yeah. So look at this way. Today we bring in data from all possible sources. We are
Yes.
one of those CX hub for many
Yes.
enterprises.
Mhm.
We not only bring data from emails, calls, and chats. We go ahead and bring data from the entire web, and our product becomes one source where all the data is there. Now, the way it works or helps agents is it can summarize the entire context for them. They don't have to go
Mhm.
through every single
They
source.
show up at an incident and look at the customer. They get the whole entire context summarized for them. Yeah.
Summarizes for them.
They don't
Uh,
have to go through the 27 touch points and all of
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And then it also gives you next best actions
Ah,
uh, because it is also integrated with your knowledge base.
yes.
Okay, so it is empowering agents to have the right kind of response, and it's not always the case that there is a query and there is a reply. There's a whole
Yeah.
lot of process between that. Maybe you are an insurance brand where someone has put up a query regarding claim, but they need to send documents, and they can send documents on either email or WhatsApp, but the agent needs to be trained as to what is the next best action. So
Yeah.
the AI assist really tells them, what you can do as part of the next step, because the entire knowledge base is now with AI. Earlier,
Yeah.
what would be the case if the agent would go read the knowledge base, go to the right section,
Right. Yeah. All that's
yeah,
yes. Yes.
and that agent will take a lot of time to get on floor or start serving the customers. There's whole lot of agent coaching involved. But today, the agent need not be coached because the AI has already done all the coaching part, right? And on top of that, once the query is solved, you have quality assessment to be done.
Yes.
So there could be a manual supervisor would be doing things, but AI does that now. Maybe supervisor only handles 5% of the queries, 95% of the queries are handled by AI, and it does fairly accurate what a human could do. In fact, better than what a human could do in terms of ensuring the quality of the responses. So
Is
AI
that
is
part of your promise right now? Is that we can automate what half of your 1,000 employees in your contact center are doing so they can work on more important things, or you
Yeah,
could
I mean,
spend less?
see, we still don't pitch this as the fact that we will replace a lot of your agents. What we tell them that is earlier, if your agents were solving 50 queries a day, they'll solve 150 queries a day. So it is definitely
Okay, here we
creates
go.
more
Right.
productivity and much happier customers because they are getting the
Yeah.
responses faster and they are
Yeah.
getting far accurate responses. And a lot of queries are now resolved in one or two iterations, where earlier it was about eight or nine iterations. If a
Mhm.
query comes online, then very seldom it goes to the contact center team to solve the query.
Right.
So a contact center, setup is very complex because you have that one customer coming from all different channels.
Yes.
Your team sitting on emails, your team sitting on chatbots or chats, live chats. then call centers and teams sitting on social media. That is all now unified within Connect Insights. So every
Yeah.
single agent now sits on Connect Insights. They take calls from here, they reply to live chats from here, they reply to emails from here, and any which ways we are providing data from all social channels. So in a sense, huge increase in productivity, and we are not replacing products. We are not building what contact centers are building. We are
Yeah.
integrating with contact center.
Yeah.
We are not replacing what live chats or chatbots are providing. We are integrating with the platform. So when we
Yeah.
go to a new customer, we say that this is a product that can give you so many things, like let's say social and email, but we are not asking you to make a drastic change to change your
You
contact
don't have to
center.
move everything into one system. You can still integrate with
Yeah.
the things you're using.
Whereas our competitors, maybe Sprinkler would go and say, replace everything and bring us in. But
Yeah.
then they don't have any friends. We have all of the CRMs and contact centers selling us.
You have many friends. That's the way to
Yeah,
partner, say, "We don't do
yeah,
what you do." That's the first rule of partnering is to be complementary.
yeah.
Well, that's amazing here. I could see how you care a lot about your customers and your employees and all of this, and you've kind of done it at your own pace. You didn't take funding drugs to go any faster. Is there a scenario in which you would take some practical outside funding to grow faster, or uh, it's not necessary, but uh, is there a scenario? You say not yet, but like,
No, no,
can
no,
you
no.
imagine a scenario? Yeah.
In fact, we are now going for first round of funding. Maybe a very
Okay.
smaller dilution of stakes.
Yeah.
But the idea is to grow faster now, and things are
Okay.
moving very fast.
Okay.
The pace is important. You need to accelerate very fast. The slow and steady days are gone. We are on a very
The
strong
race.
foundation, and it's now time to accelerate. So
Yeah.
little bit of funding will definitely help us to grow much faster. But it wouldn't be like diluting a lot of stakes and giving control to someone else. It'll be a very small dilution of our stakes.
Okay. So practical acceleration round to go a little bit faster. Where, if you invite investors in, sometimes to grow faster, sometimes for founders to take money off the table a little bit after 10 years, right? To get a little bit bigger house or something like that. But you're saying that someday you'll sell the company or someday I'll pay you back, investors, right? So what do you think is the end game here? What do you tell your investors that say, you know, do you pay them back through your profits, or do you pay them back by someday selling the company?
Well, honestly, we are looking at maybe one first round, second round, and then IPO is what I
Okay.
can
Oh, an IPO.
foresee.
Okay. That's another way to do it. We forgot how to do that here in the States. Very few companies go public anymore. I've been through that.
Maybe 5 years down the line, if everything goes in the way I'm planning, that looks like a possibility.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm sure that gets investors excited. And would you invest some of that in? Is that more salespeople, more product,
Yeah,
more
uh,
AI?
yeah, a combination of everything, but definitely more salespeople on ground in different parts of the world. Definitely not a lot on advertising. Uh,
Hmm.
Smart marketing, definitely investing in partner-led events,
Okay.
investing in our SDRs and sales. So we know what has worked. One good thing about
Yes,
us is, so I've met a lot of founders who got initial round of funding of, let's say, 7 million, 8 million,
of
but
course.
then they spent a lot of money on marketing and advertising. So I know where they have gone wrong, and I know what has worked for us with limited amount of marketing that we have done. So we surely know what we are not going to do,
Yes.
more than what we are going to do. So we're definitely not spending a lot on advertising. Definitely Google ads, no. Facebook ads, no. No LinkedIn ads. We know if you have to get enough number of customers to or attract the potential customer, there are much better ways of investing
Yeah.
in SaaS than on advertising.
Well, that's very exciting. And you're picking up your growth rate after all these years as your reputation builds and the AI changes. Do you think that a billion-dollar competitor in your space, or the $10 million bootstrapped, India-based company, do you think one has an advantage in this new transition to more AI powered software, it's the game is surely going to change. But do you view that you have an advantage being
Yeah.
fast and small?
Now look at it this way, let's look at one of the biggest SaaS company, Salesforce, you know,
Yes.
and Salesforce invested so much in Agent Force, and they market it in a altogether different fashion.
Yeah.
They charge $2 per conversations. Of course, they've got it down now. Uh, but then, if you have to look at from the product standpoint, uh, what Agent Force can deliver is something that even a smaller company than us can do it today,
Yes. Right.
right? Because technology is not stopping them to build Agent Force like features. Uh, but what is stopping them is probably they don't have the kind of data that large CRM company like Salesforce would have.
Right.
They have the data cloud. They now have bought Informatica. So
Yes. Right.
what they can do with data is something that not a smaller company can do. But if
Yeah.
you're rich enough with data,
Right.
then you are no different than what Agent Force will offer in terms of features.
I see.
When we look at our company, we already bring in data from all possible sources for a customer. And in that sense, we have more data than CRM
Right.
for a company and all their customers, included. So on the AI features offering side, we would be no different. In fact, we can have more advantage than other bigger companies who can offer AI features. So that's the equation. So AI is
Yeah.
actually empowering, and it's kind of a democratizing and not
Yes. Uh-huh.
not just giving advantages to large companies. But then you need to be rich with data to offer AI features. That's how I look at
Yeah.
it.
That makes sense.
Now, whether we are a 10 million company competing versus a $1 billion company, and when we reach out to a customer who is going to evaluate us, today we are at that stage where people prefer us over the others because others are very complicated and we offer a much simpler product. So that differentiation is out of the picture. And of course, I cannot take names of some of the customers that we work with. They are large banks, they're large government entities, not just in India, but I'm talking about other countries who have trusted us, large telecom companies. They have migrated from that $1 billion product to our solution.
Yeah.
So maybe our reach is not enough. Maybe
Okay.
not all brands know us. But if we get an entry and showcase our product, we have equal chance of winning against them.
Okay.
That's
Awesome.
how I look at it.
Right. Well, having an offering like this with the data and the modern AI tools and an accelerating track record also invites strategic acquirers, somebody like Salesforce that says, we need this as part of our suite. So, I'll add that to the possibilities out there as well, because you're kind of in the right place, right? Yeah, and moving fast with AI.
Definitely
Um,
not Salesforce because they had Social Studio. They got rid of it.
yes, right.
So
They
they are
got rid of it.
definitely not investing in a company like us. But
That's
yeah,
great.
contact centers, we attract them. And
Yes.
and again,
It's a
going
natural part of being a partner
yeah,
ecosystem is
yeah,
there's that natural, strategic acquisition opportunity
yeah.
that sometimes happens.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't let my mind run in that direction. I
Yeah,
focus
I get it.
more on building the product and
Yeah,
scaling them because it, it,
great.
it can impact the way when you start to act in
Of
terms of
course.
what
Of
your
course.
next plans
No,
are.
keep building here, and,
Keep building and
it's an
let's see what
exciting
happens.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, Samir, when you talk to new software founders, AI-focused founders, and
yeah.
B2B SaaS-focused founders in, Mumbai, in the ecosystem there, what is the most common advice that you offer them? They see you up and running and often going here. What advice do you have for those founders who are starting out and
Yeah.
getting to a million ARR, getting their first 10 customers, getting their first 50 customers?
Yeah. In fact, I'm invited for a lot of
I'm
startup
sure.
events uh, where I'm supposed to motivate them to go from 0 to 1. So one thing that I say is that there are two kinds of people who will motivate you. One could be the Messis and Ronaldos,
Yeah.
and the other could be people like us, because if we can do it, you can also do it. I think we
Yes.
believe we offer more belief than others. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the advice that I give you is that, I mean, when you start the company, you obviously have all odds against you. You don't have enough money. There's no reason why customers would trust you against the established products. And obviously, there is 99% chance that you'll fail. I mean, that's how your early days are. But then, if you're really passionate about what you're building, then don't look too far. Try to achieve your smaller goals, or maybe get, because 0 to 1. I just read a post on yesterday on LinkedIn. 0 to 1 million is impossible. 1 to 10 is improbable, and 10 to 100 million is inevitable. And then there was a post on what's next after 100 million. So definitely, and 0 to 1 million is all odds are against you. So build something. Maybe if you want to go the funding route, go that way. Get some seed funding and grow it. But if you're not able to attract the investors, and if you're still very adamant that you want to build and you're very persistent, then this is our journey. This is what we did. From here, figure out a way where someone have their own interest to sell your solution, take it to the market, speak to the end customers. Don't talk a lot to your friends and families about validation. They'll put you in wrong direction. Directly hit the customers. I mean, it's very easy for tech founders to sit in office and build a product the way they think. It doesn't go in the right direction. So while you're building, find some time to meet the end customers, showcase it to them. And sometimes what founders think is that if I take a half-baked product, I'll not get the other chance. But that's not the case. We actually build relationships if you are very genuine and committed to what you are building. So,
Yeah.
so those are the kind of advice that I give. Try and meet the end customers at whatever stage you are.
Right. Well, it's interesting. An introverted engineer turned out to be in the relationship business, the social engagement, and that's a relationship with these big brands and their individual customers, and relationships with your agencies and partners around the world. It's a very relationship oriented
Yeah, I mean,
business.
early days, I had no choice. I need to make some money. So
Yes, right. Yes, by
that
necessity,
pressure really does
not by
things for you.
choice.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, great. Congratulations on your progress and your exciting future vision, Samir. Very nice to meet you. Thanks for being on the Practical Founders podcast. Thanks for watching this week's interview on the Practical Founders podcast. Be sure to like this episode and subscribe to the Practical Founders YouTube channel to keep up with my weekly in-depth interviews with serious software founders who are building valuable software companies without big funding. You can check out my blog, all the podcast episodes, and information about my Practical Founders CEO peer groups at practicalfounders.com, or message me on LinkedIn if you'd like to connect. See you next week.